The world is a valley for this clan of Homo sapiens. The horizon is a line of jagged stone peaks that scrapes the belly of the sky. Their existence is written in the black. Volcanic glass that bleeds from the heart of the mountain at the valley's head. Obsidian. It is their power and their identity. In the hands of a master knacker. The stone yields an edge sharper than any two-thor claw. A sliver of frozen night that can part hide and flesh with surgical ease. The sound of its making. The sharp, percussive crack of a hammerstone striking a core is the valley's heartbeat. This singular resource is the foundation of their lives. A gift from the deep earth that has allowed them to thrive in this isolated pocket of the world. But the gift is a flaw. The young man sees it, even if the others only feel its consequences. He watches the hunters return, their faces grim, their shoulders slump. One holds the splintered shaft of his spear, the magnificent obsidian point, a tool that took hours of patient work to create, shattered against the thick rib of a giant oak. It is a common story. The black glass is life, but it is a brittle life. It is unforgiving. A moment of twisting torsion, an impact against bone, and the perfect edge explodes into useless fragments. The hunters blame the spirits, the oak's strength, or their own bad luck. The young man sees only the nature of the stone itself. He is not a great hunter. His strength lies in his hands and his quiet observation. While others practice their aim, he studies the way things are made. He holds a broken point to the light, tracing the conchoidal fracture patterns with his thumb. He feels the inherent weakness. His mind is a place of connections, and it has been dwelling on a story, a half-forgotten myth from the clan's oldest memories. A tale of a time before the valley, of people who lived where the land ended and the great salt water began. The story speaks of tools made not of stone, but of the giant shells that washed ashore, tools that were tough, resilient, and did not shatter. It's a children's story, a whisper from the deep past of ancient humans. The clan possesses a single artifact from this mythic place, a large, old conch shell carried here generations ago. It is a sacred object, smooth and strangely heavy. He runs his fingers over its surface, feeling its solid, layered strength. The idea that forms in his mind is a heresy. It is a rejection of the mountain's gift, a questioning of the very foundation of their world. But it is also a spark of undeniable logic. Their stone is sharp but weak. The shells of the story are strong. A journey, a trade, an act of resource procurement on a scale no one has ever conceived. He gathers a selection of the most perfect obsidian blades, each one a masterpiece of primitive technology. They are not for him, they are an offering, a question to be asked of strangers who may not even exist. The hard choice is not whether to go, but how to explain a hunger for the horizon to a people who have never looked past the mountains. Leaving the valley is like stepping out of the world. He passes the last familiar monolith of black stone, the sentinel that has guarded the entrance for all of his people's memory, and the air changes. The sounds of the clan, the chipping of flint, the cries of children, the low murmur of voices, fade behind him, swallowed by a vast, indifferent quiet. For the first time, he is truly alone. The landscape that opens before him is a terrifying expanse of rolling hills and unfamiliar vegetation. There are no stories here, no names for the streams he must cross or the strange, twisted trees that clawed the sky. This is the blank page of the world, and he is a single, trembling word upon it. His journey is governed by a simple, brutal logic. He walks towards the place where the sun is born, and as it climbs the sky, he tries to keep it on his left shoulder. At night, under a dome of stars more brilliant and dense than he has ever seen from his valley floor, he finds the one star that does not wander. This is wayfinding in its purest, most primal form. A dialogue between a single human mind and the cosmos. His survival skills are tested at every turn. He learns the hard way which roots are bitter poison and which insects provide a momentary, buzzing burst of sustenance. He learns the territories of predators not by sight, but by the scent on the wind and the age of the tracks they leave in the dirt. He is no longer a member of a clan. He is prey, and he must think like prey to survive. A week into his journey, the loneliness becomes a physical entity, a second shadow that walks beside him. The silence has teeth. It gnaws at the edges of his resolve. He finds himself speaking aloud, not in words, but in the soft, guttural sounds of his people, a desperate attempt to fill the emptiness with a ghost of community. His pack, carrying the precious obsidian blades wrapped carefully in hide, feels impossibly heavy. The hard choice presents itself each morning. Is the weight of his mission worth the calories it costs to carry? Twice he nearly abandons them, to travel lighter, faster, to simply survive. But the memory of the shattered spear point, the image of the hunter's face, fuels his foresight. He is not just carrying stones, he is carrying a solution, an idea for a different future. One evening, huddled in a hastily dug pit as a storm rages across the plains, he feels a tremor of true despair. The rain lashes down, soaking him to the bone, and the howl of the wind sounds like a great cat screaming. This is the ultimate primal fear, to be small, exposed, and utterly without shelter in a world that can erase you with a careless gesture. He clutches the smooth, cool conch shell he brought with him, the one artifact from the world he seeks. It is a solid thing in a world of chaos, a promise. His footprints are the first stitches in a tapestry that will one day connect a continent. If you feel the pull of that thread, then you know what to do. Join the chronicle as the storm breaks and the first light bleeds into the sky. He crawls from his hole, mud-caked and shivering, and continues his walk towards the rising sun. A subtle change is on the wind now. A new scent, sharp, clean, and carrying a hint of salt. The sound finds him first. It is a low, constant roar, a sound of such immense power that it feels like the world breathing. He crests a final, sandy dune and sees it, the great salt water. It is not a lake, it is a moving, living entity, a sheet of hammered silver that stretches to the edge of the sky. For a man born in a valley, whose entire concept of water is a river he could throw a stone across, the sight is a profound shock. A moment of terror and awe that redefines the scale of the world. The scent of salt is thick in his throat. He has arrived. He finds them not by sight, but by the evidence they leave behind. A trail of signs that speak of a different way of life. Mounds of empty shells, the bones of large fish, and nets woven from some tough, fibrous seagrass. He follows the tracks, his heart tight, cold knot in his chest. These are the footprints of other people. But they are strangers, in the brutal calculus of prehistory. A stranger is a threat until proven otherwise. The final component of his journey, the one he could not prepare for, is now before him, the terror of a first contact. He sees them at dusk, a small cluster of figures around a fire on the beach. They are shorter, broader than his own people. They skied darker from the relentless coastal sun. Their tools are not stone, but a collage of bone, wood, and the large, tough shells of his myths. He watches from the shadows of the dunes, his hand gripping his spear. The instinct to remain hidden, to retreat, is overwhelming. This is the moment where the courage of the small is tested not against a beast, but against the unknown face of another human. He could leave. He could take one of their discarded shell axes and begin the long walk home. But that would be theft. It would not be a bridge. He takes a deep breath and steps out from the dunes into the open. The reaction is immediate and electric. A shout goes up. The strangers leap to their feet, seizing their own weapons. Crude but effective-looking axes made from sharpened shells and spears tipped with the barbed spines of stingrays. They form a wary semicircle, their postures radiating fear and aggression. Here's one. They are many. He stops. A dozen spear throws away, and holds up his empty hands. A universal gesture, perhaps the first. Then, slowly, deliberately, he lays his own spear on the sand in front of him. He kneels and unwraps his precious cargo. The last rays of the setting sun catch the facets of the obsidian blades. They gleam with an inner fire, a stout, black perfection against the pale sand. He picks one up,
The journey
a
back
long,
is slow and
lace-shaped
exhausting.
point.
Each
He
step
holds
a
it so they can
testament.
see it. Then he takes a piece of driftwood and, with a flick of his wrist, shaves a long, curling sliver from its surface. A collective gasp, a murmur of disbelief, ripples through the onlookers. Their own shell tools can crush and chop, but they cannot do that. He has shown them a kind of magic. He places the blade on the sand and pushes it forward. An offering, a bridge of two hands. After a long, tense silence, an old man steps forward. He cautiously picks up the obsidian, his weathered fingers tracing its impossible edge. He understands. This is the beginning of reciprocity. He turns, speaks to his clan, and another man brings forward a heavy, beautifully halved head made from the thickest part of a giant conch. He places it on the sand, an equal distance between them. The trade is made. The two separate worlds of
march
hominid
side by
history
side,
are,
the
for the
raft
first
balance-
time, connected. That single, silent exchange on a forgotten beach was an event as significant as the discovery of fire. It was the birth of an idea far more powerful than any tool. The idea that a stranger does not have to be an enemy. He can be a partner. The obsidian blade and the shell as were just objects. But what truly passed between those two hands was trust. This one man's journey, a thread of courage stretched across an unknown landscape, became the first strand in the vast, globe-spanning web of trade and connection that would define the future of our species. Every caravan that would one day cross the Silk Road, every ship that would brave the open ocean, every transaction that builds our modern world is a direct descendant of that one perilous, hopeful moment. This anonymous ancestor, one of our truest human ancestors, did not just undertake a journey for a better tool. He undertook a journey that expanded the very definition of us. He proved that community did not have to end at the horizon. He taught us that sometimes the most valuable thing you can find in the world is not what you were looking for, but the person you find to trade with. The longest journeys are not measured in steps, but in the distance between one mind and another. But what happens when the thing being traded is not a stone, but a story?